Let's do this.
That's right, and live on the CBD4U.net hotline, we have one of the hottest tag teams in Texas and in the United States. We have the Pillars. Remember, CBD, it can help you with inflammation. It can help you with pain. It can help you go to sleep. It is an absolute miracle herb. Check it out, CBD4U.net. CBD made from Austin, Texas. The Pillars, what's up? We got Titan and Hunter with us. How you doing, guys?
What's up, baby? What's up? What's up?
Not much, man. We are absolutely pumped to have you guys on the podcast. And call me wrong, but I think I saw this on your Facebook page. This is the first podcast interview you guys have done?
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely amazing.
I mean, crazy how animated we are, but we have never done any podcasts. So I'm like, man, that's something we got to get on.
Well, hey, I'm so glad we're the first one. We're going to get to know you guys. We're going to talk about Texas wrestling. We're going to talk about your work in Impact Wrestling. And you have a show local to our podcast. We're broadcasting from Lake Charles, Louisiana, right down the road, Oakdale. We got Mid-South Championship Wrestling. They're going to be holding an event June 1st. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on in the interview. But let's start off with Texas wrestling, and then we'll get to know you guys a little bit better after that. So Texas wrestling, I'm just going to start rattling off some promotions. It almost seems like Texas wrestling is having a renaissance of some sorts. Lions Pride, Metroplex, Laredo Wrestling Alliance, Booker T's Reality Wrestling main event comes into Texas, Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, Texas Wrestling Alliance, River City Wrestling, Heavy Metal Wrestling, and right down the road in Beaumont, Texas, from us, Hurricane Pro. Texas wrestling is kind of exploding right now.
Yeah. Texas has always been a very unique state when it comes to professional wrestling. It's obviously, largest state in the 48 contingent states, and it actually, reflects that with the wrestling, where some states you go to, they'll have one show a weekend. Maybe if you're lucky, we'll get two shows in. But in Texas, I can almost guarantee you there's about 5 or 6 shows going on every Friday, every Saturday, and every Sunday. And that offers a very unique opportunity for guys, and that opportunity is the chance to showcase yourself and get better and get the reps in and get the practice that we all need to get better.
Right. And Bill, and if you focus more into Texas, specifically San Antonio, so many of these companies are from San Antonio. What is up in the water in San Antonio where their scene is just on fire?
Texas is just really big. I'm not from Texas, so I can't really talk much about it. I just go out there and hang out with Parviz and
kick butt.
Go wherever. Yeah, go over where he says we're going.
well,
7 or 8 hours driving in that nation of a state.
Titan, what is it about San Antonio that's such a hotbed for wrestling right now?
Well, I think that they have the fans, honestly, that just they crave it, they want it, they desire it, they want to see more wrestling. The fans in San Antonio are just ridiculous. They can never get enough professional wrestling, and it seems like there's a promotion every week that's running over there, and it just keeps growing. It's crazy.
That is dope. And Laredo Wrestling Alliance, they made some waves last year with Jason David Frank and Mr. Stud Tackler, Bryson Scott. And speaking of Bryson Scott, recently had a documentary on Comedy Central. So the Valhalla Club getting a lot of exposure right now from Jordan Klepper. And then I saw one Titan on there as well.
Yeah. It's actually pretty ironic, funny, however you want to say. So I think the Thursday before we started shooting, I was coming off of a competition. I think I got f***ed over, and the dude just kind of screwed me over on points because I compete as an actual competitive strongman. I am a legitimate 2-sport professional athlete. And I think I was about a week off of a competition. It was a Thursday, and I won't forget it. I was just doing 225 for squats. This is for average person, it's a lot of weight. But for me, it's it's just working weight. And I'm doing squats and I go all the way down, I start coming back up, I feel a massive pop in the left side of my hip. I'm like, oh, 22-year-old me would have been like, oh, f that. We got another, 6 sets to do, and we got deadlifts, and we got, whatever else. But I was like, nope, I'm not that young anymore. We got to go figure this out. Go to the, literally put the weights racket, go to the chiropractor. I actually suffered a really bad hip injury when I first started training almost 8 years ago. So they popped my hip back into place.
Dang.
I took some pain medication, sucked it up that Friday, shot the show. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why I started using, of all things, not going to, give a cheap shout out, but I was actually using CBD to help deal with the pain that had happened in that hip. I just thought it was so funny because this, obviously the Comedy Central work is going to be seen by such a massive audience. I was like, well, I got to suck it up. I got to, work hurt, push through the pain, however you want to say it, whatever cliche you want to say. And I'm obviously very happy I did. I've been friends with Bryson, shout out, cheap pop to Bryson. I've known him since I pretty much started this business. He's like a brother to me. I met Eddie and Jan. They're great guys. We have the bond of being both professional wrestlers and being, partially disabled veterans. So it really meant a lot to me that they asked me to be a part of that, Kepler's show. And it also meant even more when I actually got to see myself on TV. And I'm like, wow, I'm helping bring awareness to something that, not a lot of people know about.
Most exactly. And we had Bryson on the show probably, I would say 3 months ago. Really cool cat, really gracious.
Oh, sorry.
And, man, I hope that really takes his career to the next level because he definitely deserves it. Also, speaking about Texas wrestling, we talked about it earlier, Texas Wrestling Alliance. Of course, Rudy Gonzalez, Shawn Michaels. I mean, you can't get a bigger name, more recognition around the world than Shawn freaking Michaels with Texas Wrestling. And then a local organization, Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, making waves, announcing June 28th, TJ Perkins and Ty Dillinger in the freaking house.
That's good.
Yeah.
About that.
Gulf Coast, that's down in Corpus. They haven't, I think, well, actually, let me rephrase that. Actually, I think a couple of times they've contacted me about working, but unfortunately I had, shoot job or another booking that weekend. But they do the work. They put the money in. And that's a really big thing is we would all love to say that, we're all good enough to draw on our own. But, sometimes you need a TJ Perkins. Sometimes you need a, Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears, whatever he's working as today, to get people in the door. Because if you can get them in the door, that's my biggest thing that I always tell people when it comes to promotion. If you can get them in the door and get them to watch your product, if it's good, then they're going to be like, okay, we'll come back next time, even if, Hornswoggle isn't there.
Right.
I can only say that because I put him over twice, so it's okay. Shout out to Swoggle.
We're talking to the Pillars. They are a tag team, and they are lighting up the indie scene all across the United States right now. You can check them out on Facebook, The Pillars TV. It is on the CBD4U.net hotline. Now, Bill, you recently had a tryout with WWE. Tell us about that experience.
They made me do a lot of cardio.
Yeah, I guess you were not a fan.
Downs. I ran a lot of ropes. No, it was really, really fun. Other than, the horrible cardio, blowout drills. Just seeing the Performance Center, words can't really describe it. It is a facility for sure. And just seeing how they run things down there, it's professional.
It's definitely a well-oiled machine.
Yes, indeed.
Now, speaking of a well-oiled machine, after Dixie Carter got her hands off of it, seems like Anthem is bringing Impact back in a big way. And you guys have done some work for Impact. Tell us a little bit about that, guys, how that came about and how your experiences were.
We died. Rosemary killed us.
Rosemary killed us.
No!
Shout out to Rosemary. She killed us. And almost literally did, too. She almost killed us.
Yeah. Hey, is that the real Cleaver? Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So back in November of last year, Impact held open tryouts, and I was talking to Bill. I'm like, you know what, dude? Let's do it. I personally, go for broke in life, and I was like, you know what? They're having a tryout. Let's go do it, man. Worst case scenario, we can go to Heart Attack Grill. Shout out to Heart Attack Grill. It's in Vegas. It's amazing.
I was just like, yeah, Vegas. Let's go get fat.
Hell yeah. And it's legal there too. I mean, CBD is awesome.
Yes.
So like we end up going, I mean, it was at least 200 people, Bill? Maybe more?
It was a lot. I only have 10 fingers, but I counted a lot.
Yeah, there was a ton of people there. We all ran matches. And as I said, over 200 people there. Of the 200 people, maybe 9 guys got chosen for television. And of those 9 guys, Bill and I were the only 2 that were not local to the promotion and to the area. So, obviously, if you're a big star in Vegas, then they're going to use you on television, correct?
Right.
So me and Bill were the only 2 that were not, kind of guys that were local and, known to that Las Vegas wrestling scene, and we were chosen. So we were chosen. We had a match on Explosion, and we kind of got the vibe more or less that, we're having another taping in February. You guys should come back. We rehearsed it a couple times, and then Jimmy Jacobs is like, all right, we ready? We ready? All right, camera's ready. Everybody's set. Hold on a second. And he walks over to Rosemary and picks up that cleaver, and he's like, hey, can we get her the fake cleaver this time? I'm like, wow. She just drug that across my neck twice, but okay.
Oh, jeez.
And then, so they replaced it. So I would have, yeah.
Well, luckily she's a professional.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's amazing. Like, I mean, even bigger, shout outs and props. Most people don't realize, like, it takes Bill and I a good amount of time to get ready between the paint and the fur and all the other gimmicks we got to put on. But, like, their stuff is even more intricate than ours. So for performers like, Stu Young and Allie and Rosemary, for them to sit there and put on all that paint, Stu Young does it all herself. And then whenever she has the Undead Bride, she does all of them herself too. Like that, I found that super impressive. I'm like, I'm not that talented. I can't make up those.
I get frustrated just doing our own war paint.
Yeah, I know.
Punching walls. I can't imagine doing something that intricate for an army of people. Because there was like 7 or 8 of them running around with her, right? Again, I didn't count that high. I didn't want to.
And that match on Explosion, that was a great match. I remember I was playing around on my Global Force app, and I was like, hold up, I know these guys. And then I was like, all right. So you guys, on the Explosion episode, you went against the 1%. What can you say about those guys?
Actually, Royce is from Colorado as well. He started around the same time I did. I don't know Jarrell that well, but Royce is a solid dude.
Right on.
Oh, yeah. We've gotten a chance to work with both of them a few times. Like I said, Royce is from Colorado. I've been working a little bit more often in Colorado trying to spread the Pillar's name. But both guys are amazing guys, great athletes. Just it's so crazy that you talk about, the independent scene blowing up in Texas, because, I mean, honestly, it's blowing up all over the place.
Nice.
You can just look at the 2 guys. You could put them on TV against the Usos and you'd believe it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wouldn't be like, oh, why are these 2 guys in kick pads and T-shirts wrestling, the biggest team in the world? No, they look like stars. They perform like stars, and that's a big thing that, people seem to neglect these days, that you do need to look like a star. And there are just so many guys now, even on the independent scene at this level now, that are putting in the time, putting in the work, putting in the effort to make themselves look like an actual performer, a professional wrestler.
They look like wrestlers, not like Joe Schmo off the street corner decided to get a pair of shooter shoes, kick pads, and tights. They still got a beer gut hanging out.
We're talking with the Pillars live on the CBD4U.net hotline. Let's talk about how you guys met each other, because you talked about how you're from 2 different states. Let's talk about how you met and how it came about for this gimmick of the pillars.
Yeah, well, it's actually ironic, funny, however you want to say. But, I was just watching YouTube one day, just watching different videos and wrestling. I would like to say, just for the record, like, I love professional wrestling. I enjoy it. I watch it. I watch independent wrestling. I watch, I'm not one of those people, oh, I'm too cool to watch the network, or, oh, no, I don't watch this show. No, dude, I watch everything. I enjoy. I can find enjoyment in all types of wrestling, whether it be spot fests or 80s kind of big pomp and circumstance, or even like death matches. So I was watching all these different videos, and just in those, on the side of your screen, they have that, videos you may like kind of button or whatever.
Right.
And one of them had a match. I want to say it was from, at the time, New Era Pro Wrestling, which is what was it called before?
It's always been that.
No. Rocky Mountain used to be.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
It was NRG or something. It's not NRG Stadium. But anyways, yeah, it was an old episode of that, and the little pic in the thumbnail was Bill, and I'm like, whoa, that's a big, scary looking jack dude. I bet I could steal some shit from him. So I clicked on the video and I started watching, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. And this is, a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. Then after that, after I saw the video, I just found him on social media and we started talking. You can take it from there, Bill, from WrestleMania, what was it, Dallas?
I think so, because that was when I first got set up with everything in Texas, and we initially met because we got booked in a match together, and I feel like the moment we walked in the locker room was one of those, the mime spot where they try to like do the same thing the other one is doing. I felt like it was one of those things. Like I put my left hand out, he puts his left hand out, I shake my right leg, he shook his right leg.
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was like looking into a mirror. That was what the promoter said, like, after the match. He's walking by, like, why aren't you guys a tag team? We looked at each other like, why aren't we a tag team?
Yeah, and the rest, they say, is history. We just started teaming together, and our personalities, I think, is what makes us such a great team, is we blend very well. Our philosophies and our instincts are very similar, because I can do something in the ring, and then I'll go back and watch the footage, and I'll be like, wow, Bill's doing the same thing in another area of the match, and I didn't even ask. We automatically had that, kind of like same wavelength that we were thinking about doing something, and we both did it. So it's kind of it's a crazy thing to kind of develop that chemistry, especially, like I said, we've only been teaming for a couple of years now, comparatively to, teams that have had 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and then they start getting that kind of same wavelength and same kind of connection, for lack of a better term.
Exactly. And the Pillars gimmick is absolutely amazing, and you guys are perfect for it. I mean, one of the best things about you guys is, as fans, we love to suspend our disbelief. And when you guys come out, I can totally believe that you're some badass Viking warriors from the Northern Kingdom.
It's pretty easy to believe that when there's a 300-pound man chasing you with a battle axe, isn't it?
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah, I think that it was honestly, I think it was something that I think we both kind of quote unquote needed in our own, careers at that point. The biggest thing that a lot of people have told me over the years is like, dude, you're great. You can work, you can talk, you got a great look, but you're missing something. And they didn't know what that something was. And honestly, it was a gimmick. Give me something that I can use as the foundation of my performance, and I'll do it. I'll go all into it. I'll go double or nothing into it. Whenever, I started adopting more of the Viking barbarian kind of gimmick, it is, I can see where people will say that it is dated, that it is kind of over the top, it's kind of, hokey, whatever, you wanna call it. But that's what professional wrestling is. It's a performance. It's something different. I think that if Bill and I were to stand up in a locker room, of course, even if we were just, regular trunks and boots and knee pads, we'd stand out because of the size, because of the look, because there's two of us. But because there is a gimmick on top of that, it's the icing on the cake. It makes it that much better. And I also feel that, people that quote unquote chastise a gimmick, as I just said, I was watching, Road to Double or Nothing, and Chris Jericho attacked a dude with a cane in a, office building. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We want to believe that as fans. We want to believe that these guys are the ones that they perform as on TV, that there's some small aspect of truth to the performance. And for those fans, they want to believe that we are the two guys sitting on the couch in Game of Thrones in full makeup and, war paint and fur watching Game of Thrones, like that's what they want to believe that we do. That's what we do. It's not as off as it seems. It's not as strange as you may think it is.
Right. And then recently, I think you had some issues with TSA. They confiscated one of your axes.
Yeah. So we were going back for the second set of Impact's tapings, and we get to the hotel, we get unpacked, and then I'm like, all right, let's grab the weapons. We got to go for the first day of the tapings. And I'm going through my bag, and I see one of those little, I don't know if people have ever gotten these. They're slips that TSA legally has to put into your bag saying that, hey, we opened it up. We had to go through it because, we felt there was a threat. I go through it, and I'm like, wait, where's my axe? It was, pretty decent size. It's not a real quote unquote axe. It's a replica axe. But, I was like, okay, well, this is strange. So call up TSA. Oh, sorry, sir. We don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Must have been a mistake. I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. I want to know what happened to my axe. So finally, after going back and forth with them forever, they were like, we're sorry, sir. We felt that your axe was a quote unquote threat to public safety, so we had to confiscate it. They said, well, we can't give it to you and let you have it at the airport. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I guess that sucks, but whatever. Can you send it back? I'll give you a mailing address, mail it back to my house. They were like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. We can't do that. I'm like, why? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. That's against policy. That's against regulation. I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. Somebody was in the back of TSA. They opened up my bag. They saw a nice gold, wooden polished axe, and they were like, ooh, I want to take this home with me. So somebody in the back in TSA just decided they were going to keep my axe. And they were like, all right, well, we can't return the axe to you, sir, but we can compensate you. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we can get you a check for the full price of the axe. How much was it? And I'm like, and I threw out a number because I asked Bill. It ended up being 3 times more than what I paid for the axe. But
yes.
Don't let them know that.
Well, I mean, it was the exact price of the axe. And just to be spiteful, I got the check and I turned around and bought the exact same axe again off of Amazon just to be like, you know what? TSA. That was bullshit.
Then he gambled the rest of the money away.
So if you're going to be doing like an event where you're flying, how are you going to get it there now? You're going to have to ship it to yourself or something?
Well, it's ironic, too, because also the massive sword that was shown on Impact that Rosemary used to kill everybody, that's my sword as well. And ironically enough, the sword, the mace, all the weapons we had on there were ours. So,
yeah,
that was cool. But the axe, nope. You can carry a sword if you want, but
you can have a mace. You can have, but yeah, I mean, we've traveled with it. Bill is. Let's just for all intents, Bill's axe is bigger than mine, giggity. And he brings it on the plane, he'll put it in his carry-on all the time.
Oh.
So I don't understand why they felt, like I said, I figure it was just somebody looked through the bag and was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to keep it. So
Bill, what did the TSA's agent's face look like when he scans your bag and there's a big old axe in it?
Usually I have to go through the whole explanation of why there's a 6-foot battle axe in there. At this point, though, with some of the Denver people, it's just like, oh, hey, Bill, how's the axe?
Right on. Well, you guys are going to be here locally June 1st in Oakdale, Louisiana, Mid-South Championship Wrestling Wrestle War. WWF legend One Man Gang is going to be there.
That's right. One Man Gang. It's actually, that's probably the biggest, like, I'm trying to think of, like, it's just the biggest cherry on top of the sundae for me whenever I get a chance to perform. Like, last time Mid-South Wrestling had Animal, and, you know, I don't know if you'd maybe be able to put the, you know, connect the dots, but Animal and Hawk are a very large part. You know, it's probably my favorite tag team of all time. So being able to meet Animal, you know, that's, I think, the third time that I've gotten to meet him. It was amazing. And then, like I said, same thing, One Man Gang, huge inspiration to me. A lot of guys growing up, they wanted to be, I want to be Hulk Hogan. I want to be, you know, Macho Man. I want to be, you know, this really cool guy that everybody loves and is tan and ripped. I'm like, nah, dude, I want to be fucking One Man Gang. I want to be Vader. I want to be Bundy. I want to be Bam Bam. I want to be big and ugly and scary and nasty. And it's just being able to see. Exactly. Mission accomplished. But I find it such a treat for me that, you know, I got to meet Animal. I got to meet a lot of these guys that I saw as a, you know, young man, a boy. You know, I was able to watch these guys on TV, and they were my favorite thing in the world. So it's just being able to meet them now is just the cherry on top of the, you know, sundae of being able to perform.
Most definitely. All our peeps here in Southwest Louisiana is definitely going to be worth the drive. Wrestle War going on June 1st in Oakdale, Louisiana at the Moward Civic Center. Doors open at 5, bell time at 6.
This is actually the first time that the Pillars will be performing in that area.
Yes.
You know, I've been doing a lot of professional wrestling in Louisiana. I mean, you mentioned Lake Charles. Like, that's one of the places I got my start was with Full Throttle Wrestling. And honestly, you name the promotion in Southern Louisiana, I've already worked for them. But this is the first time, and possibly the only time, that the people of Southern Louisiana are going to get an opportunity to see the Pillars live and in tie-dye, you know?
Look, I know Oakdale's going to love you. That crowd is always hot. And when you guys come out that ramp, you guys are going to absolutely blow them away, and they're going to love you.
I think it's crazy too, because we've been told this by multiple people that have, you know, made a lot more money in this business than we have, that, you know, we're both very good individually, but together it's almost like who can top this competition. So I start getting crazy, then he starts getting even crazier, so I try to top him, so he tries to top me, so then basically Bill and I are just going back and forth to try to get the biggest reaction from the crowd. So it's just like fueling the fire of the match, and it just makes it that much better. It's such a unique and interesting experience for the fans to see these two guys that, you know, are just out of their freaking minds and just going insane, you know, and it's not, and like he said, it's not just, you know, 140-pound dudes doing, you know, springboards and stuff like that. These are, you know, we're both over 6 feet. We're both nearly 300 pounds with abs, with, you know, muscles, doing all these things. And it's such a different thing for the fans to experience live.
Right. Oh, and another funny post I want to bring up to all the peeps out there. They need to follow you on Facebook, Titan, because one of the funniest posts I saw was a picture of you and Bill, I think in a Planet Fitness, and you said when you guys walked in, their eyes got as big as softballs, and they said, "Please don't break anything."
We did break stuff.
Yeah, I think that was when I was training for a competition and Bill was training for his WWE Tryout. So, like, we were just, like I said, whenever we walked in there, they was literally like, they were like, "Oh, okay, you both are?" It's like, yeah. It's like, "Please don't break anything." It's like, no promises.
I made that treadmill cry.
Yeah.
We've been pimping out your Facebook page at The Pillars TV. Where, what other social media platforms can they find you guys on?
We also have a Twitter and Instagram. I don't remember the names offhand. Give me 1 second.
Well, our individual Facebooks and Twitters, you can look up Norse Nightmare for Bill. Hunter, or you could look up my mine, which you either can type in Paul Titan or the Paul Titan, Paul_Titan, some along those lines. I'm the only Paul Titan, thankfully, for now, in professional wrestling here in the United States. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're working on the YouTube stuff. That's kind of a much more intricate and detailed platform that we're going to have to devote, a little more time to.
Basically, what Titan's saying is we don't know computers that well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think is so fun as well, is that, as calm, quote unquote, as we are right now, like whenever we get out there, we don't break gimmick. We don't break character. So whenever we perform, we perform as characters. So it's such a unique thing because we'll do everything in gimmick from as soon as we get in front of the fans to the time we leave at the merch table. All the stuff that we do is all, driven by the characters. So when people see that, it throws them off, and it's so crazy. But the other thing is that it allows for such unique opportunities. Like one of the last times I was in Colorado, there was a professional lacrosse game that had a fundraiser for a young man who had needed some money for surgery, and had a lot of wrestlers there. And Bill and I mean, we got there in gimmick, in character, full stuff, and we went out there and just interacted with people at a 30,000 seat arena. Wow. And just passed out flyers for Rocky Mountain Pro. Shout out to Rocky Mountain Pro. We interacted with the fans. We took pictures. We were able to do all that in character. In gimmick. And it's something that is it's so different for people to see these two massive guys in fur and acting like that. And it also allows, like I said, for very unique opportunities for vignettes and promos. The promos that we've done, I've actually been very proud of because they're not the traditional professional wrestling promo. We try to find places that are unique. We try to find situations that are not quote unquote everyday situations that you'd see. And we use that as the basis for our promos. And if hopefully someday we get the opportunity, I mean, I was watching Raw's War from 1998 the other day, and they just had DX walking down the street in New York, interacting with people, Triple H and New Age Outlaws. They were just going down the street as, the gimmick and talking to people. And I think that's something that people that, the national companies today are missing, is give the fans that opportunity to interact with the professional wrestlers on a personal level like that. And it would just create such a greater, admiration for the performers and for the product. So if you could have the pillars, let's just go walk down. We did walk down Bourbon Street. And, Bill grabbed some random kid and scared the crap out of him.
I bet.
You know what I mean? Like wouldn't you want us, of all the segments on Raw, if you just saw, Bill and I full gimmick walking down the street, on Bourbon Street, wouldn't that be entertaining? That would be something that people would watch and enjoy, that could enjoy.
Yeah, I can imagine I can imagine the conversation. The mom was probably like, "Go get our kid," and the dad was like, "No, I'm staying in the truck. I'm good."
Yeah. But just being able to create that, interaction with the fans is what I feel that, a lot of guys feel, I guess, they're too cool for now. They're just going to be performers, and we're just going to wrestle and be myself, as opposed to, taking on a character that is unique and that people are always going to remember,
Most definitely. Well, again, you guys on Facebook, tons of pictures, tons of videos. Follow the Pillars TV. On Twitter, Pillars_Destiny, and on Instagram, _Pillars_of_Destiny. Titan and Hunter.
Underscores.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
We had to come up with new ones.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.